Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Big rumours emerging overnight as to the potential start date of the new CDL season. It's not necessarily good news. The Miami Heretics were confirmed yesterday and they seem to have leaked when they expect the first event to be. Rather later than many of us would hope for, given the last couple of seasons. Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, a couple of quick things on Rostermania. Players actually that seemingly don't have spots for next season. As JKL said a couple of days ago now, there's still 3 teams not done. We don't know what the status is with Los Angeles Grillers. There's some rumours. There aren't really many rumours around Vegas and London, to be honest, but certain players seemingly don't have offers, and this is really unfortunate, I think, for Gwyn especially, as was said last night here by the rotation, that Neptune, who was a really great player in challenges, especially last season, but also has been in the CDL before, and Gwyn, who was, let's not forget, the Seattle Surge substitute last year. There was lots of talk that they should have at least tried at some point putting Mac to the bench. Gwyn comes into the starting team. You know, I think Mac isn't really so perfect for that SMG role. I would actually prefer to see him on a flex somewhere. I don't know if that's going to happen for this upcoming season, unfortunately. But yeah, Gwyn back to Challengers, right? This is the thing. Guy did so well in Challengers. You know, there's players in the past that have won Challengers World Championships, and it doesn't really seem to matter that much, you know? You don't even get a spot anyway. It almost feels like your best chance is to go and play Warzone. And then, you know, because even the likes of Biffle and this Shifty guy, I know we've talked about the drum with him the last few days, but those guys actually have, if anything, more of a chance to get picked up in some respects, because they seem to make more of a name for themselves than even winning Challengers Champs does not guarantee you anything at all in terms of a spot going into the starting league next season. So yeah, kind of unfortunate, but I mean, look, this duo is going to be pretty monstrous in Challengers, I think. So, you know, if Temp is looking for a team in Challengers to go for, if he's not going to get a CDL spot, which he might, it's definitely possible, and I think he will get an offer from somewhere, Temp, but he did say that he doesn't really want to go and play for the minimum on a bad team. He'd prefer to even start in Challengers and wait for a midfield team, I guess, to make a change. And, you know, Gwyn and Neptune plus Temp is a pretty scary team of 3 in Challengers if that's what they wanted to do. Now, this is the Miami Heretics roster. Let me just refresh this, because I'm pretty sure they've got their @ changed again. Actually, maybe not. Oh yeah, there we go, just updated. So they did manage to get the official one, the one they wanted, without the underscore, nothing like that anymore. So yeah, here we go. This is the full roster, 6 players on the team. Well, 5 players plus 1 coach. One of them is going to be a substitute. And it's kind of cool that they know already what their plan is, just because, I mean, you look at most other teams, they don't have a substitute until the start of the season, and given the current way of the finances in this league, you might well see loads more coaches be the substitute for this year than we've seen previously, or they'll just wait a long time until after the first Pro-Am to actually decide if they are going to bring in a sub, who's it going to be. But the Pro-Am might be somewhat later than we could well have hoped for or expected. So Heretics confirmed it last night. If you guys didn't see the video, Miami Heretics back in business. Method says, you know, welcome back to the league. Fake Method, who's their coach. This I thought was hilarious as well here, actually. So if you guys don't know this clip, it's where Afro says, oh, my name's Marcus, I play for the Minnesota Rocker, and I like big booty Latinas. And people were in the replies like, isn't his girlfriend like a Caucasian or whatever? And Afro has to clarify in the replies that she's Puerto Rican. So I thought that was pretty funny, to be honest. But yeah, unlikely Afro to Miami Heretics. We believe he's going to be going to the Los Angeles Thieves.
Hello, I'm Afro, or you can call me Marcus. I'm a player for the Minnesota Rocker. I'm a submachine gun, and I like big booty Latinas.
Now, some will be rather happy that Mutineers are officially gone at, let's say, OpTic, as we discussed last night, but one of the things that was talked about here was the potential start date of the new season. Now, before we get into that, I do just want to quickly comment on this from Crim and Parasite. Tonight is round 4 of the Crown the King, who is the king, I don't know, CDL Warzone tourney. We know that Repulse and especially Zoomer have had a part to play in making this happen, mainly because if they did it and if they helped get the Warzone and CDL creators and pros to do it, then the CDL would say, all right, you guys can host a kickoff event when the game actually launches, which will be hopefully a very good time. So round 4 is today. It's a 4v4 hardpoint. We've seen some of the teams get revealed over the last couple of days, and Crimix was like, hey, get me in. As even Parasite says, if anyone needs one for the hardpoint tourney tomorrow, haven't got off the game, I'll teach you spawns. Crim says, you don't classify as a Warzone creator is what they're going to say. I asked and and said that I couldn't because I classify as a pro, which is, it's interesting for sure. And I feel kind of bad for Crim if, you know, he's been effectively rejected from playing in this tourney, because you've got the likes of Rated and others that were pros before but have now been Warzone creators. And Crim has played, like, he probably hasn't played that much Warzone in the last 12 months, but he's definitely played more Warzone than he has CDL professional matches. So if Crim's going to qualify as anything, especially given many of the other players that are, you know, Warzone creators, despite basically being former CDL pros, then surely Crim should qualify as that. So, yeah, it feels a bit bad that Crim, you know, the greatest of all time in terms of accomplishments in the Call of Duty history, they say, no, you can't play in this even though you want to. It's like, well, you know, surely you could have found a way to make that work, even though, okay, sure, maybe he's a bit overpowered having Crim as a Warzone creator, but, you know, nonetheless, that's kind of how these teams are formed. So, yeah, Crim got seemingly rejected from playing in this tournament, which is somewhat unfortunate. But, yeah, 4v4 hardpoint tonight, and then September the 1st, that's the 70k finale, which is going to be CDL versus Warzone. But the rumor has it that the format is going to be, there's still some kill races involved, and then there's like another part of the format just going to be search and destroy, and then some like 1v1 stuff, I think is the current rumor. So that seems to favor the Warzone pros a bit more than it does the CDL pros, to be honest. So I guess we'll see on that one. But that's all we know for the time being. This is the Heretics Take My Vermosa, which is going to be appearing in plenty of Twitch chats, I'm sure. Well, actually YouTube chats, because, you know, Twitch, rest in peace, we think at least. We don't have any confirmation yet of the CDL returning to YouTube, but that is the current rumor and the current deal we believe is going down. It's funny because I'm sure the CDL will have sold YouTube on all of the Scump numbers, on all of the Zoomer watch party numbers that aren't going to be replicated on their own platform. I'm sure, you know, whoever's making the decisions must know these things, but I don't know what Scump is going to do and Zoomer are going to do in terms of watch parties. They might just do what Zoomer used to do with, you know, just looking at the minimap or whatever, like he would cover up most of the screen to do the watch party, which was unfortunate, but that might be what we have to return to, unfortunately. But we'll see on that one, because, yeah, probably YouTube chat we're going back to. Now, this is the clip. So Heretics did this roundtable thing. They also talked about how they were looking to partner up with Paris Legion, either in Paris, potentially move that spot to Madrid, which I think was a rumor maybe a year and a half ago, or maybe even become Vegas Heretics. Turned out they partnered with Misfits and the Miami ownership group, or the Florida ownership group, and that's what it is now. But they also mention here, as I'll just share on screen, that, well, when you guys are signed, right? So I guess they hadn't signed the contracts as of recording, maybe partly because the longer they wait, the less they have to pay these guys. It's just kind of the financial thing that these teams do. Vegas aren't going to sign any players until like December probably, just to ensure that they have to pay the least amount possible for the entire season. But they mentioned that in January they'll be competing in Miami.
Obviamente aquí lo vamos a dar, pero tampoco vais a firmar aquí, pero lo vais a ver, lo vais a tener para firmarlo ya. Y ya está, que esto ya lo deis por hecho, que esto es una realidad. La semana que viene anunciamos y en enero estaréis compitiendo en Miami.
So there's two possible things that could mean. Either it means that the first event of the season is going to be in Miami in January, which is one potential leak, and honestly, that's not out of the realms of possibility. We believe there's going to be an OpTic event this year. I mean, OpTic basically confirmed that the other day in one of their social posts, that there's going to be an OpTic Major 2024. We don't know when. I think Toronto are running it back. I'm pretty sure that Adam Adamu said on Twitter at some point that, like, you know, they'll be back in Toronto for that event again next year, and we don't really know what the other events are going to be. Would be nice to have New York. There's other candidates, but Miami might come in and say, you know, Heretics might say, hey, let's do an event in Florida, and why not? Would be a great venue for sure. And there was CWL Miami for the playoffs, right, in 2019, just before the World Championship that year. It was in Miami, and definitely a well-liked event. So that's a possibility that they've basically leaked that they released are applying and believe they might get the first event in January. Now, this most recent season, we had, well, this is 2022. There was a kickoff in mid-January, and the big talking point was, in the Vanguard year, why are we waiting so long? This was also the season with the big mid-season break for no real reason, which, honestly, okay, it wasn't good to have the big mid-season break. I would prefer, personally, just to have a little bit more time between the majors. I think after a major happens, it should be like 2 weeks off and then go again. If we're only going to get 5 majors, which is probably what we're going to get again for the upcoming season. In an ideal world, the league starts in January, and there's like 7 majors, including champs, or maybe excluding champs, and it runs for like, you know, 8-9 months. I don't really understand. Like, the Premier League basically runs for like 10 months of the year. Formula 1 runs for like 9 months of the year. But apparently apparently in esports we can only afford to do like 6 months of the year. It's kind of pathetic, to be honest, especially because it's not like the players need all that rest and recovery and recuperation time. So, you know, whatever. I understand why they don't maybe have the budget to do this stuff, but it's still kind of tragic how short the season is and how long these off seasons are. So this most recent season, the big talking point was, wow, the CDL have finally done it. The league is going to start in December. Last year's Modern Warfare 2 season started on December the 2nd with the first round of online qualifiers, and then there was in Raleigh the effectively kick-off pro-round tournament they did on December the 15th through the 18th, which aligns with what happened often pre-CDL, let's say, you know, 2019 or something. The first event was in early December. That's how they used to do it, 1 month after the game came out to capitalize on the hype. That's the best approach, hands down. So the possibility of that statement is that either we're doing this again, and yet, you know, it's going to be first event in pre-December, or maybe they just do the qualifiers pre-Christmas maybe, and then after Christmas, I don't know, then the first event is in Miami. Or I would say the more likely possibility, and the possibility that aligns slightly more with the rumors that I've been hearing, is that actually we're starting in January again, and apparently December, we did that 1 year, and great job everyone, but we can't do that again. I don't know, they won't confirm this probably for another couple of months, but that's the rumor that I've been hearing, and that aligns with what the Heretics guys are saying. And what that would mean is that playing in Miami in January means that you're going to be playing at our facility, because I think the Florida had a facility which they might still be using, I'm guessing, for the new year in Miami, with you know, where the Florida guys would play out of. So that to me is the explanation that makes more sense, that these guys are going to be playing these online matches from the facility in Miami in January, and that's going to be effectively when it starts. So we might miss out on the entirety of December, which is, I mean, if this actually happens, it's pretty embarrassing again, because the season is going to go Major 1 to 5, I'm guessing, plus champs, and it's going to be like January to July again. And I mean, look, the season ended in the middle of June, and we're talking about starting the new season in January. It's like, blimey. I mean, I know that they're running low on money right now, and the CDL is probably running on a skeleton crew basis to try and ensure that it doesn't look so in the red for Microsoft when they come in and try and acquire it. But yeah, still, I do hope that when Activision take this, when Microsoft, take over Activision and probably significantly change the way the CDL is done. And I know there's been lots of talk from Ben, Jay, Nassim and others over the last couple of days that when Microsoft come in, it's not going to be how it is now. We're going to probably go back to a non-CDL level situation. And hopefully they can just allow the season to last longer, man, because I'm fed up of these seasons lasting 6-7 months and doing a 5-6 months off season. It's actually tragic. Content creators like myself and the players and the streamers are like trying desperately to keep the scene alive, and the CDL don't do anything about it. So, you know, just intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Thought this is a funny comparison as well. This was the walkout that we see for the Valorant Champions event going down in Los Angeles right now. And I mean, look, this is Champions. It's a Riot event. They always put on a good show compared to our Major 4 last year. I mean, I just thought this is hilarious, right? Looking back on this, when Maven had to do this and Octane was standing here like, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my entire life, basically. And also just trying to insult to injury to the CDL. This was also mentioned. I wonder if part of the reason why Activision don't do this is because they would get embarrassed by the figures from Riot. But crowdfunding has been a thing in many esports for many years, especially with, let's say, Valorant in recent times, when every year they introduce like a bundle that you can buy, and pretty much half of that money goes to Riot, half of that money is then distributed through to the teams. And this year, the bundle made $20 million, 40 million in total sales, 20 million of that will go to each team, which is, I mean, you know, each 1.25 million per 16 teams. The organization will probably take a nice cut of that. The players will take a nice cut of that. I mean, it's crazy the amount of money that these guys are able to generate from stuff like this. And to be fair, that's not the crazy part. To me, the crazy part is that Call of Duty don't want to do this. I mean, yes, sure, they do add the in-game cosmetic items and stuff, and I'm guessing the teams do get a cut of that. Let's say you buy the OpTic one or whatever, OpTic probably do get a cut of that revenue. But they never do this for Champions or the World Championship. They never put any of that money into the prize pool or just distribute it to the teams themselves. Such an easy win. I mean, we're talking the other, a few days ago, like, how do you even keep esports profitable? Or how do you even make it happen? This is one of the ways you make it happen, but for whatever reason, we just don't do this type of stuff in COD. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.